Good evening, everyone. This is the City of Marine City Virtual City Commission meeting called to order on Thursday, January 7th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Can we please have a moment of silence to send our positive thoughts and prayers to those in our community that need our support? Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Roll call, Commissioner Bryson.
Here.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Here.
Madam Clerk, on the first
Yes.
roll call, could people identify where they're at for the record?
Okay, I'll start over. Commissioner Bryson, could you identify where you are?
I'm in Marine City in the county of St. Clair.
Commissioner Hendrick.
I'm here in the Marine City in the county of St. Clair.
Commissioner Callahan.
I'm here in the city of Marine City, county of St. Clair.
Commissioner Clausen.
I'm here, city of Marine City, county of St. Clair.
Commissioner Kreidler, welcome. Commissioner Kreidler? We'll come back to him. Commissioner Ross.
Here at my home in Marine City in the county of St. Clair.
Mayor Verkaman.
I'm here, City of Marine City, county of St. Clair.
City Manager Levin.
Here, City Marine City, St. Clair County.
We'll go back to Commissioner Kreidler. John Kreidler. Okay.
I bet he'll join.
I swore him in earlier today, so I know he's aware of the meeting.
Okay. We need to approve the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda, please?
Is Jake Bryson so moved?
Support, Bill Clausen.
We have a motion and support. Now is an opportunity for public comment. Anyone is welcome to address.
We got to vote.
Got to vote on the
gotta vote.
agenda.
Yes, I knew that.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Kreidler. Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Verkaman.
Yes,
Motion carries.
good. Okay, moving down to public comment. Anyone is welcome to address the city commission. Please state your name and limit your comments to 5 minutes. The commission will not respond, but we will follow up as necessary.
Laura Scotcha is here.
Go ahead.
So I am here representing the Marine City Area Chamber of Commerce. On the agenda is a special event permit application. I just wanted to make some changes to that. I just realized there were a couple errors that were submitted by our former executive director. The event is actually on January 16th from 2 to 5 o'clock. In addition, there should be fire pits added to this agenda or to this permit. If you have any questions, when you get to that point, I am here to answer them.
Okay, anyone else?
Nothing for public comment at the moment, but I just wanted to make you aware that Commissioner Kreidler was able to dial in. He was having some connection trouble.
Yeah.
Thank you.
John, are you with us now?
Yeah, this is John. I'm here. Thank you.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
yep.
All right. Thanks.
We need to make a motion to approve the city commission meeting minutes of December 17th, 2020.
This is Commissioner Hendrick. I got two quick corrections.
Go ahead.
On page 8, when we discussed the kayak launch, I did bring up that Tom and Sherry Fosher had stated their opposition. Side note, I talked to her afterwards. She had told the clerk and she had told the former mayor. But I'd like it noted that I did bring their issue up. That's one. And then this is all on page 8. For the retirement actuarial issue, I'd just like it to say that we went from 80% to 59%, and we will need to make a $400,000 contribution next budget. That's it.
Anyone else?
I'll make a motion to approve as amended.
Support, Luke Lawson.
We have a motion and support. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan,
yes,
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Kreidler,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Verkaman,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, going down to the consent agenda, we have special event permits, the Marine City Winter Blues Chili Cook-Off. Has everybody had a chance to look that over? With the corrections, I think that Laura had just talked about. Anybody have any questions about that?
We're not allowed to discuss.
We need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
This is Jake. I'll make a motion. We approve the consent agenda letter A.
Support, Luke Lawson.
All right, any discussion now? Okay, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Callahan,
yes,
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Kreidler,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Verkaman,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, moving to financial business. I need a motion to approve expenditures.
This is Commissioner Callahan. I make a motion to approve our expenditures, including payroll for $305,512.23.
This is Jake. Support.
Does anybody have any questions about our expenditures?
Yes, this is Commissioner Hendrick. Just a quick one, page 6, Elaine.
Yep.
There's an item on there for a Salter control unit. Did we do that at a public meeting?
Nope, I was actually just going to address that. That is something that fell under my emergency powers because without the Salter control unit, we would have a truck down for salting. This is something that I felt was an emergency that we needed to get it ordered prior to waiting for a commission meeting. It is something that still has not come in yet, so if you do not want to approve this, we can pull the order.
No, no problem. Just wanted to, I just saw it on there. It was kind of odd.
Yep, I was going to bring it to everyone's attention. Thanks for catching it.
Okay.
The only question I had, this is Commissioner Ross, was regarding on page 3, the 10-foot plow that we just approved purchase of last meeting.
Yep.
It did not include the additional $600 for add-ons that we had discussed that would have taken the total up to $3,300. It only indicates the plow purchase at $2,700. Is that covered in a separate area of the budget, or is it purchased at a later date? Just curious why it's not in there.
I'd have to check on that. I don't have the information in front of me, but
Oh, well, it's
certainly
page 3
that
if
is-
you need to look at it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, as far as internally.
Oh.
I'd have to check with Mike. I'm not sure if he's on the call and has an answer to that, but it certainly would be something that if we needed it and it wasn't part of that invoice, we would get it and still not exceed what was approved. Hey, Mike, are you there? Do you by any chance have an answer to that?
Yes, I am. The extra rubbers that were supposed to come with it, I already had some here, so I did not bother ordering them, so I don't need that money.
Oh, okay. Great.
Saves us a little bit of money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anybody else? All right, can I get a roll call vote, please, for financial business?
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Kreidler,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Verkaman,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Good. Moving down to number 10, unfinished business. We have requests for proposals for 260 South Parker Street. Elaine?
All right. So you should all have the information before you about the bids that we received for the renovation of 260 South Parker. They range from $516,000 down to $333,000. When I met with the contractors at the site and we were looking at all of the plans, they did voice several concerns with the plans regarding some of the alterations and the alternates for the bids. And some of them also expressed that there were easier, better ways to do things. I think some of these bids have actually reflected that they swayed from the plans as bid, and that's, I think, part of the fluctuation between the prices. I think all of these bidders that we had bid the project are more than capable to be able to do the project. There was a little bit of missing information in some of the bids. I think at this point, a prudent thing to be able to do would be to put together a subcommittee to interview each of these and put a recommendation before the full board. I think interviewing them on site and allotting probably about an hour for each interview to be able to get some feedback from them regarding the value engineering and how they would be able to control some of the costs and potentially drive these bids down a little bit more is in order. I also think that if we were to go that route, I think that it would be beneficial for that subcommittee to be maintained throughout the construction period, because there will be some decisions throughout building process where we might need a quick decision, and to be able to have a team of people from the board help make some of these decisions would be beneficial. It would be something where more than likely it's going to be cost value driven things that are going to drive it down instead of increasing whatever the costs are. If there was something, say, when they get into the demolition phase and realize that there are unexpected things that are going to drive the cost up, that would be something that would come before the commission to make an amendment to that bid. That's where I stand with things right now, so I would look to some feedback from the board on that.
Elaine?
Yeah.
This is Commissioner Hendrick. If you want to go that route, I would suggest that we continue to use our current committee, since they've been involved in figuring out what shouldn't be in here, what should be in here. And since they've already been working with the original engineers, I know we fired them, but I mean, we already got the knowledge of what the intent is of the project. It might speed it up a little bit faster.
Well, I'm thinking that we should, this is Mary Verkaman, I'm thinking that we should look at possibly bringing in some of the new commissioners on this subcommittee. We're basically starting anew here with looking at the doing the interviews and then moving forward, and getting them more involved in the city right off the bat for this project. So I'm recommending, of course, I'd like to be on the committee because I'd like to see this through. And I have a lot of construction experience just for my own personal stuff, but I'd like to see John Kreidler. Are you there? John, are you there?
He is. He's just fighting with the mute button.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry. Got a notification that covered up my button. Yeah.
Are you interested in being on the subcommittee for the construction of 260 South Parker?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you make a comment?
Bill, are you interested in staying on as a licensed builder?
I'm still interested in staying on, but I want to know why the stuff didn't come back to that committee with the second set of prints after we refused the first set of prints. So we never had a committee meeting after that to look at what was bid out, that committee. So why didn't that happen?
I'm not understanding the question.
There was a committee formed to look at that stuff already. And then when we fired the engineer, he was supposed to get his set of new prints back that we could bid off of, but they were never brought back to the committee.
Elaine?
We already kind of talked about this in either the subcommittee or one of the previous meetings. I think that Bill just didn't get a copy of those. We had the plans in the office and the city commission approved the RFP to go out for the general contractor. So the information was readily available.
No, I think what he's getting at is our last committee meeting, we made more changes and we haven't seen those changes come back to the committee. And I guess, I understand you want to change things, but I can just see, again, I'm getting bumped out of a committee that, I've got the time to do. And I put the time in there, and no offense to anybody else, but I think we just should have used the same committee.
We're trying to just offer opportunities to some new board members that aren't on any committees.
But you put yourself on all these committees and you don't offer anybody else. Why don't then you put Mr. Ross on there instead of yourself? Otherwise, you're on every committee.
I'm not really on every committee.
I think at this point, what we're doing here is we're going to be interviewing these contractors and looking for the information from them to make a recommendation to move forward with this project. The plans that we got from the architect, we have no ability to be able to change. So what was submitted out there was what we got from the architect. Maybe if you find out who all is interested in serving, you could make a motion to appoint those people one by one.
Well, we never got a set of plans that were changed, did we, Elaine?
Bill, the set of plans that I have from the architect were online, and that's what we bid out. I don't know what particular changes you're looking for, but that's all that I had.
But if you look at the plans that you've got sitting there, these people bid on things that we eliminated some time ago. Like a furnace system. The one guy's got a furnace system in there. We eliminated that. Another guy's got an extra water cooler. We eliminated that. The plans show the extra bathroom in the front, which we decided to just put the plumbing in and not utilize it. I mean, there's a lot of things that I think these people are bidding on, which throws the bids off.
And as I mentioned, the bids, they did not necessarily all bid out the same product because they didn't think that the plans that were put together were very well organized.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
why I think what we need to do is we need to meet with each of these companies, interview them, find out what their ideas are, how they can potentially value engineer it and drive the costs down.
And that's fine, but I think, you know, you had an original committee that's been here from the start. I don't care if you want to, you know, but it's kind of sad that when we got the time, you're looking for people that you can contact right away, can do things. I'm retired, so that's why I offer up my time. And since I've been on the committee from the start, I'd like to stay on that committee just to see it through.
We're also trying to give other people an opportunity to.
Well, that's fine. You can use your spot for Mr. Kreidler.
Well, I can use your spot for Mr. Kreidler.
Well, yeah, but then you're putting yourself on. See, the problem is you seem to be making all these motions or wanting to make motions that nobody else has the opportunity to do.
That's my job.
No, that's not really correct.
Okay. Well, look, I just want to get this project moving forward. I want to be able to have this done in a timely fashion. I want to be able to have people that are available, that are not sitting on any other committees or any other things that are, you know, part of the community at whole. And I just want to make sure that, that, like I said, that we move this project forward. So, you know, I would like to form a subcommittee, and I'd like for it to be myself, Bill Clausen, and John Kreidler, so we can get this project done. So I'd like to make a motion.
Figures.
So I'd like to make a motion to form a subcommittee to do the interviews, come back with recommendations to the board, and maintain this committee through construction. And the three people that I mentioned, I'd like to be on the subcommittee.
John, this is Bill Clausen. John Kreidler, what's his expertise?
What's anybody's expertise? You're the one with the building.
I'm a building official and I'm an inspector, and I do that job every day. I want to know who the people on that board that are looking at these drawings, they know what they're looking at.
You're the only one that has that experience.
This is Commissioner Kreidler. Would you like to hear some experience? I have some drawing experience. I'm always working in the entertainment industry, building and designing sets and stages of a portable nature. And I've worked on a couple of different houses of my own. Those are the kind of things I have experience at. Obviously, this is beyond that. I used to work at Vincent's Heating and Plumbing. I have some of that contracting experience. Not a licensed builder or an inspector, but I've dealt with many, and I just want to let you know that that's what I know in this regard. You're welcome.
Right, thank you. So we have a motion.
We need a second to the motion in order for the motion to proceed.
Does it die with, if it doesn't get a motion?
If it doesn't get a second, the motion dies.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we have a motion on the table. It's not continuing, so if we want to continue with the existing board, I need a motion for that. For the existing subcommittee, I'm sorry.
So this is Bill Claus, and I'll make a motion that you use the existing board, and I know that you're the alternate, or you're on that board also, so.
I'll second it for Bill Hendrick.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Kreidler,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Verkaman,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan,
yes,
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes,
Motion carries.
Okay, moving on to 9B, request for proposals for the IT services. Elaine?
So as you can all see, we did receive 3 bids for computer network support services. One I think is immediately disqualified, IT Right, being that it's twice as much money and there's also a $4,000 one-time onboarding charge. That being said, network connections and high tech are both very similar. We've done a little bit of reference checking, and I think they would both be able to support our needs. So I do have some potential questions with the support for police departments. High tech is fully capable and able to serve us, and they are the lowest bid, and that would be the one that I would recommend.
I have some experience with one of the references that Network Connections gave was Jefferson Beach Marina. And we kept our boat there about 2 or 3 years ago, and the internet service was not good. I will admit I'm not sure how long they've had the contract there, but there were lots of issues.
I'll make a motion that we go with high tech. What do you want me to use? Annual cost?
Did you want to put in there a term, because they did submit for 22, 23, and 24?
All right, hang on, let me look at it.
The rate increase is projected to be 0.25%, and even if it was the maximum amount each year, it would still be less than what Network Connections quote was.
All right, we got the total rate in the back here.
Yep, next to the last page.
By not accepting I mean, we can only approve on an annual basis, correct? Or couldn't we approve for the next 3 years?
No, you can approve a 3 or 4 year contract with them.
Okay.
All right, I'll make the motion that we approve it for the 3-year contract.
And that would be with the premium plan, which is what we currently have.
With the premium plan of $12,312 a year.
Does Jake support?
Okay, we have a motion and a support. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Verkaman,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan,
yes,
Commissioner Clausen,
yes,
Commissioner Kreidler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, going down to new business, the SEMCOG Water Distribution System Reliability Study. Elaine?
We actually have Dave Newmer with Wade Trim on the line to do a summary of both of these studies and take any questions you might have.
Hi, Dave, go ahead.
Good evening, Commissioners. As Lynn said, my name is Dave Newmer with Wade Trim. I'm going to present the water distribution, the plant consolidation study, as well as the water reliability study. Just go through those briefly, and then I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Initially, the city applied for a loan or a grant, excuse me, through SEMCOG to do a study to consider whether or not it would be feasible to consolidate your water system with the St. Clair River Sewer and Water Authority water system, better known as the China and East China system. We began that project by creating for Marine City a digital model, computer model of your water system. That model was then taken and integrated into the existing model that we had for China and East China systems. And then we were able to analyze all three communities as one large system together. The report goes through kind of the detail of how we did that and how we went about preparing the model and calibrating the model. And there's a lot of kind of the technical detail and whatnot in there. I'm just going to skip ahead to the answer if that's okay. And then if there's any questions on the technical stuff, I'd be happy to go over those with you. So the conclusions of the report are, from a technical perspective, that consolidation of the two water systems would be feasible. What that means is that the East China and China water system, the plant has enough capacity in order to service themselves plus Marine City, considering current demands and then also an estimation of future demands. Were that to happen, there would be 3 connections into the city of Marine City, and we would be maintaining pressures and flows that are very similar to what you experience now being serviced by your own plant. I think the largest change was maybe 2.5 or 3 PSI. So the pressures and flows will be very similar to what you have today. So from a technical perspective, it would be possible to combine the systems together. In evaluating the systems, there are some things to consider. The primary one would be that currently with 2 different separate water plants, 2 different water systems, there's some redundancy between the communities. If Marine City's plant had a problem and you had to shut your plant down for a certain period of time, we could open up the interconnections between the communities, and that East China plant could service Marine City, and then vice versa. If they had a problem, you could provide service to them. If we were to consolidate the systems and Marine City became joined in with China and East China, there would only be 1 water plant, and if that plant had a problem, there would be no redundancy and no backup. So that's something certainly to consider. Other things to consider are there would be some capital expenditures that would be needed by Marine City in order to connect into the system. There are no capital improvements as far as pressure, flow, or distribution goes, but we would be needing to put in meter pits at all of the connections to the East China system so that the water can be master metered and they know how much water they're providing to you. And those meter pits are, ballpark $100,000 a piece or so. So there's some pretty significant capital investment that needs to happen there. So those are kind of the technical feasibility, if you will, of the consolidation. Outside of the technical considerations, there are other considerations that we just kind of outlined in the report, but didn't provide recommendations on. These are more of a policy, political policy type nature. The first would be what the relationship of Marine City to the authority would be moving into the future should you decide to consolidate the systems. Would you want to come in and become a full member of the authority and have actual ownership in the water plant? What would that look like? Would there be some capital investment needed in order to kind of buy into the system? That would need to be researched and talked about. So we identified that as an issue, but didn't go into it any further. Another option would be if Marine City didn't want to become a full member of the authority, but decided to become a customer of the authority. Then in that scenario, you probably wouldn't have any ownership of the plant or the process as far as producing the water goes. But you would be treated as a customer from the authority, and your rates would probably reflect that and be somewhat higher than the member communities have that have control over their own rates. So kind of how some of those political issues would play out would need to be fleshed out further, should the city decide to consolidate the systems. So kind of in summary, it is feasible from a technical perspective, but there are some capital and then some other kind of policy decisions that would need to be played out were that scenario to be pursued further. So I know that was a very quick overview of that particular report. If you'd like me to address questions on that now, I can, or if you'd like, I can move on to the reliability study and kind of give you the summary of that as well.
I'd like to ask just a couple questions. Oh, go ahead, Bill.
Don't we already have that capability? Because I know when we change out the water towers between those we share water, there's a gate valve, I believe, on North Mary Street that they can switch on and off so they can get from both plants when one is down. We have that capacity, don't we?
You have the capability now, yes. If your plant was experiencing a problem or you had to shut down for a period of time, you could be serviced by East China. And similarly, if their plant went down, you could provide service to them.
So what's the reason for the water authority?
Are you asking me why the water authority exists or why you would want to join?
Why you want to join?
Well, the state of Michigan is asking adjacent communities to look into the possibility of consolidating services, not just water services, but for example, the city of Marine City is a member of the fire authority with other communities, and they're looking at ways to provide governmental services more efficiently. This is just another one of those ways.
Okay, but I know that I'm in one of the other units that's with East China, so I know some other stuff and I think we would have a problem, but that's just my opinion.
So this is Commissioner Ross. Were you finished, Bill? I didn't want to interrupt.
Right.
Okay, thanks. So regarding the internet connects, you mentioned something does exist, but is it the 3 that you mentioned would be required? And the only thing that would need to be added to them are these meter pits.
Yes, there are three interconnections that exist today. They're just essentially double valves. So Marine City has a valve, and then kind of right next to it, East China has a valve. So each community has to go and open up their own valves, and then the water can flow between the two systems. Were you to become a permanent member of the authority or be getting your water supplied by them, we would install what we refer to as a meter vault. It'd be a underground concrete structure, probably 5 feet wide and 10 feet long, have some equipment in it, a master meter that would meter the water that comes into the community so that they could use that as billing purposes to know how much water the Marine City was using so they could invoice you.
Right, and that would be at each of the 3 interconnects.
That's correct.
That's all I had, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? All right, well, we need a motion to receive this report and file it.
I'll make a motion, Bill Clausen, to receive and file the report.
That's specific to the consolidation report also. It was Jake for support.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Ross. Because
Yeah,
we
just
still
to make
haven't
sure that
reviewed
you are,
the
just to make sure that
the
you are
reliability
aware
study.
that also includes submitting it to the state, as noted in the plan
Okay.
for the study.
Are we providing a copy of this to the water authority?
I have done that already.
Okay.
So are these 2 separate, or can we combine A and B?
They should be
It's
separate
just one.
motions.
Okay, so I need a motion to receive and the SEMCOG Water Distribution System Reliability Study first. So we had a motion and support on that already, correct?
Correct.
Correct, okay. well,
No,
then I
we had a
need
motion to support the consolidation study, I thought. We haven't even reviewed the reliability study yet.
I thought he did both.
No, I've only done the one so far.
Okay, so we did the consolidation feasibility study?
That's
That's
correct. We did them out of order.
All right, that doesn't
We should
matter.
take a vote on the first, let's take a vote on the first one.
Okay, so we're voting on the water plant consolidation feasibility study.
To receive
All right, I
and
need a roll
file.
call vote, please.
Mayor Verkaman,
Yes,
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan,
yes,
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes,
Commissioner Kreidler,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Motion carries.
okay. Dave, do you want to talk about the reliability study?
Yep, I'll go through that one now. So the water reliability study is specific just to Marine City. So this only involves your water model, not interconnected with the other communities. The state of Michigan has a requirement that you prepare a reliability study that's supposed to be on a 5-year cycle. The reliability study is meant to go through and look at how your system's performing, identify any areas that may be deficient as far as pressures go, or as far as fire flow provision goes, and to identify those areas and then put together a capital improvements plan that would reflect addressing those issues and concerns. So since we had already gone through and produced the digital model of your system for the consolidation study, we're able to use that model to put together the reliability study for you as kind of a piggyback to the original project that we did. The reliability study goes through and does an analysis of your water system. Like I said, it does look at existing pressures and flows. It looks at them on a series of different criteria. There's an average day scenario, a maximum day scenario, a peak hour scenario, and then a fire flow scenario. So those are the 4 different model runs that we do. So for example, on the average day, we look at your average water demands, what you typically use, what your pressures are throughout the community, and we run the model to see if there's any areas that are deficient. The max hour or max day and then peak hour are just more intensive scenarios than those that have higher and higher demands. The fire flow scenario is a little bit different. In that scenario, what we do is we impose a fire demand on every single fire hydrant within your system that's included in the model. And we run that down to a pressure of 20 psi, a minimum pressure of 20 psi. And then we see if that causes, first of all, if that causes pressure problems in any other parts of the community. And secondly, we look at what your available flow is from each of those hydrants. The communities typically establish their own parameters for what's acceptable as target values for fire flow. I believe yours were 500 gallons per minute. No, I'm sorry, 1,000 gallons per minute for residential, 2,500 gallons per minute for commercial and industrial. Those are values that we typically see throughout most of Southeast Michigan and the communities. With these reliability studies, you do have the ability to kind of tailor those a little bit to the community, but these are what we arrived at in consultation with the DPW and speaking with Mike, and what seemed to be to best fit the community. As we see in most of the communities where we do these reliability studies, the areas that we experience the most issues with as far as performance goes is in with the fire flow, being able to provide that at all of the locations throughout the community. And a lot of that has to do with the age of the system and the size of the pipes. In previous years, when a lot of these systems were initially constructed, they were put together with grids of alternating maybe 4-inch and 6-inch water mains that either block. You've got several water mains in your community that are 4s, 6s. You've even got some 2-inch water mains. And from a fire flow perspective, those don't perform very well. They don't give you much flow out of your hydrants. The other factor that really impacts that a lot is the age of the pipes and the hydrants. as the water mains age, they tend to get tuberculation on the inside of the pipe that kind of restricts or reduces the available cross-sectional area and reduces the flow that you get out of those pipes. We see that especially with cast iron pipes that were typically used in older water main systems. So those things kind of compound a little bit. Older systems tend to have cast iron pipes, and they tend to have smaller pipes, 4-inch and 6-inch, and those things really tend to restrict your fire flow. So a lot of the requirements or the recommendations that we came up with in the report have to do with fire flow, providing fire flow to certain areas of the community. The recommendations that we have for you are on page 33 of the report. There are 2 that we consider to be high priority and 5 more that we consider to be lower priority. These water studies, as they're put together, they really do focus on the results of the modeling. That's what the state requires us to do. And we did put these together in consultation with Mike and with the DPW with their input. But these recommendations are really focused on fire flow and pressure problems. So there probably are examples in the community, and I'm sure that Mike could point out several of these, where maybe you've got a history of water main breaks, or you know that there's a problem with the water service or water main on a street that didn't come up or wasn't reflected in the model that we put together. So there may be some projects like that that aren't represented here in this report. But these are the projects that we've identified that are the result basically of the fire flow deficiencies throughout the community. So that's kind of a high level overview. If there's questions or if you'd like me to go into a little more depth, I can.
Hey, David, it's Jake. I have a question regarding the first item, the high priority item, abandoning the 4-inch cast iron main on Scott Street. Can you expound a little bit on why that's a high priority?
Yeah, because we've got fire hydrants that are serviced off of that 4-inch. On Scott Street, you've got an 8-inch water main and a 4-inch water main, both on that same street. Some of the homes are serviced off the 4-inch and some are serviced off the 8-inch. You've got some fire hydrants on that street that are serviced off the 4-inch. And the 4-inch hydrant or the 4-inch water main just isn't able to provide very much fire flow to those fire hydrants. So should the fire department come up and come to fight a fire, they hook onto a hydrant that's served off of a 4-inch main, they're not going to get much fire flow out of that. That's why that was one of the projects that was identified.
Yeah, I get that. I know I spoke with Mike yesterday and he said all the fire hydrants pull off the 8-inch main on that area.
Okay. I was of the understanding that there were some that came off of the 4-inch.
Yeah, I mean, if they were pulling off the 4-inch, I could certainly understand it. But if they really do pull off the 8-inch, then I mean, I know the 4-inch has a really crappy Hazen-Williams coefficient, but
yeah,
still, it's not going to impact the fire hydrants per se if they're all pulling off the 8-inch ductile iron pipe.
Yeah, I would have to take a look at our fire flow map in here and see. I think we did flag that one due to fire flow requirements. I believe that's the reason that recommendation's in there.
Hey, Mike, are you still on?
Yes, I am.
Can you confirm that all those hydrants are on that 8-inch line?
Okay, 200 feet away from the one on Scott and Third. There's another hydrant right there that's on an 8-inch line that kicks out over 1,000 gallons a minute. Right on the corner of Parker and Scott, there's another hydrant there that's on 16-inch that kicks out over 2,000 gallons a minute. I don't feel this is a high priority like we talked about yesterday at the committee meeting. That's why. We have 2 hydrants in there right 200 feet away from each one of those that could produce more water than we need.
Yeah, so there are a couple hydrants. It looks like close to the corner of Bell River and Scott that are off the 4. And as Mike indicated, there are hydrants adjacent to those that are off the bigger mains. And the other thing that I'll mention is really from an overall perspective, your system's in pretty good shape. I I mean, these recommendations that came out as high priority and low priority, there are not a lot of locations in your community that really have problems with fire flow. So while we are recommending that, since some of these did fall below the criteria that were established, so they made it onto the list. I mean, as you've noticed, in reality, they're probably not a big problem, but since they do fail the criteria, they do get added to the list.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Dave, Bill Clausen. Hey, I wanted to know on those smaller lines and where you have other lines, to correct that without changing the line, can you loop those systems? And that would help it?
In some cases you can. There are some dead end mains that you could look at looping, where it will help to increase the flow into those lines. I would say certainly for 6-inch you could. Typically for 4-inch and absolutely for 2-inch lines, you would want to replace those.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
This is Commissioner Hendrick. I just have a question in general. I know we're accepting and filing them, but when are we going to discuss, or what are you going to do, Elaine, to come up with a plan on what we're going to decide?
Our infrastructure committee has already kind of been talking about some of the information in here regarding the replacement of some of these lines. So that's something that we'll be continuing to talk about. As far as the plant consolidation feasibility study, likely we will get some feedback from the state when they receive the report.
So you're going to wait for the state's response before we do anything further?
We don't really have any funding or anything to move forward with anything. If you recall, these were all funded by a SEMCOG grant. And with the infrastructure subcommittee, we're looking at doing lines and road replacement right now.
That's true, but the only reason why we were looking at the Consolidate is because they had a newer plant, and if we got into the water authority, it might lower the water rates.
It's a possibility, but it also leaves us exposed that no one has been able to provide any information to me about what happens if we consolidate and the plant goes down.
Well, we'd have to look to see if they have any connections with St. Clair then.
Well, thing is if it goes down, you know, we potentially could be in a situation where we're going to have bottled water brought in for drinking purposes, bathing purposes, cooking purposes. Conversations that I've had with Mike, he doesn't think that if the plant in East China went down, if we were consolidated with them, that St. Clair would have enough pressure to be able to serve us.
Yeah, but without a report in that direction, you really don't know.
Right, which would be another costly report.
Elena, I could probably address that, at least anecdotally. I know from the work that we've done previously in East China and looking at the interconnect with St. Clair, and also the elevation of the system, since they're at a higher elevation than you are, that plant does not have the capacity to serve St. Clair, China, East China, and Marine City. So if you were to consolidate with China and East China, and the three communities together lost their water plant for some time, the St. Clair plant would not have the capacity or the ability to service all 4 communities at once, I don't believe.
But the analysis that this could serve as a backup and we could serve as a backup is still relevant, isn't it?
You're saying if we did not consolidate?
Yeah, even if there wasn't a
answer that one? Sorry for cutting in. Can I answer that one? This is Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
Okay, over the past couple of years, we've used them and they've used us. The most 2 recent was when the Detroit Edison was on fire. we opened up our interconnect with them to service water for them for roughly 12 hours to fight the St. Clair fire. 2 years ago, I lost my water tower, my stand and my water tower, and they serviced us for roughly 6 hours until we were able to get all of our everything together, and then we were able to shut them off. Over the past 30 years, we probably opened up 8 or 9 times with them to help them serve us and serve them. So if we consolidate, we lose that ability to do that.
Yeah,
Thanks.
so I mean, Mike, thank you for that. I just recall the 2 incidents, but it seems like there's been a backup going in both directions. We've helped them and they've helped us, and it's worked very well.
Yes. And we have no interconnect Elginak Way, so if East China went down, we'd be on our own. We'd be done.
Okay, thank you for listening.
Any other questions for Dave?
Not a question per se, but just a quick comment. If these are getting submitted, well, I think that we may want to amend it to regarding the recommendations, the high priority recommendations, and then page 3, paragraph 3, we're referred to as Martin City rather than Marine. That's about the only thing I caught.
Martin City.
Yeah.
This is Jake. One quick thing on the water plant consolidation study. On page 31 at the very top, it does mention that the St. Clair water system cannot provide for all 3 communities.
So what David had said anecdotally is actually included in the report.
Yes, it's the very top of page 31.
Anything else, Brian?
Oh, no, that was it. I'm sorry.
Okay. Dave, are you all set?
I am set, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Elaine, anything more? Nope. All right, well, I need a motion to report and file the SEMCOG Water Distribution System Reliability Study.
As amended or as is?
As amended.
Okay, I can second that, as amended.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I need a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Kreider,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Verkaman.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. And we have nothing on consent agenda. City managers report.
I have been working with the building official on issues that it seems to be are compounding out at EHE Recycling and the violations that are going on there. I've also been working with both the building official and the attorney on getting an RFP out for the demolition of 209 West Boulevard. As mentioned earlier, the infrastructure committee has been meeting, and we will be meeting again next week and are working on putting together, or will be working on putting together a recommendation for projects for city commission approval. There is another opportunity for us that we applied for funding from the Ralph C. Wilson Foundation for a matching grant for the kayak launch. So that's something that will be out in April. So timing-wise, we'll be looking at that. And then also I wanted to let the commission know that the fire authority was approved by the state to have a fire academy, and they are going to be having that at the fire hall It will be through the end of February. It sounds like they have a class of about 14 people. This is something that will definitely be beneficial to the area. Hopefully we'll get some good paid on call because I know Fire Authority has been having issues filling those positions. It does impact us from a meeting perspective if we were to go back to meeting in person. With us meeting in Zoom, by the state, we are allowed through the end of March for that. I did talk to Joe, the fire chief, and he said that if we do meet in person, he would be willing to accommodate us in the garage bay and get things set up for us. And that's all I have.
So I have a question, Elaine, about the fire authority. I mean, I'm all for training, and you know, I think that's a great thing. There was they come in on Tuesday and Thursday, so they actually come in on one of our meeting days.
Correct.
If we were to meet back in person, don't we have someone that's a liaison for fire authority?
Yes, Commissioner Hendrick here, me.
Did they ever talk about at the meetings taking our Thursday time slot?
We haven't had any meetings in a while because they've had kind of things shut down and there hasn't really been a whole lot of business. But I did talk to Joe. They put in for this grant months and months ago, and because they thought we would be already in our new building, they didn't think it was going to be an issue. So they went along with the grant. It's about a $30,000 grant for training. So they do need the meeting room in the event they have videos and they have to utilize the television, but we do have a repair bay, or we can use the big bays in there. I've also offered the city manager if she needs it. I probably could get the Lions Club. So that's just another alternate location too if you'd want something for a meeting.
Okay. Well, at least we have a couple of alternatives. I just was wondering why they did it on a Thursday. I didn't realize that they had put in for that grant a long time ago. I think that's great that they got the grant. Any other comments or questions for our city manager?
Yep, I got one more question. Elaine, on your thing, the 209 West Boulevard, I mean, I'm still getting everybody in the neighborhood calling me. So what's the process? I mean, we postponed our vote, so will it be on the next agenda?
You know, I have been working diligently on this, and unfortunately, things just have not been moving as quick as I would like. Working with the building official who is part-time, and then the attorney, and then we've had vacations and holidays and things. You know, I want to get this RFP out as soon as possible, and I hope to get it out next week. That's really all I can tell you at the moment, unfortunately.
But didn't we just postpone our vote to proceed with it, and we haven't done that yet? I mean, that's all I'm looking for.
This is the bids for contractors to demolish the building.
This is the demolition bid.
Correct, but we had the meeting before when we had the gentleman there, and we postponed voting to do anything and to give him a little bit more time, so we never completed that vote.
He did not fulfill his obligation, so
Correct.
the building permit was revoked, and that's why we are moving forward with where we were.
Okay, so it may not be on the next meeting.
I'm hoping that we will have demo bids at the next meeting.
Okay, all right. I just need to keep these people informed that live in that area because I get hit up by them on a regular basis. Thank you.
Yep.
Lisa, are there calls for them to tear it down or to leave it up?
Well, one of the
to demolish. I mean, it's sat there for a whole year with basically the roof caved in and all the stuff around it. And I think they've endured it for a whole year. In fact, it has a birthday coming up, so they've endured it for a whole year, and it's time.
Yep. Thanks.
Well,
I just wanted clarity. Thanks.
As a city commission, you have given this situation just about as much slack as possible. You've given every deference possible to this property owner. And that's why it's time to go out for demolition bids.
Good. I agree. Anything else?
Yeah. Elaine, I want to know what when the the mayor left before the election, and he wanted to have meetings and not go virtual. You know when we're going to get out of virtual? When are we going to be able to meet? What do we have? 10?
That's not up to the mayor.
Well, the next update from the governor, I would expect to be probably sometime before the 15th, because our current emergency orders that we're operating under go to, I think, January 15th. So I would anticipate sometime next week we'll get an update from the governor and see where we stand with things.
I think they said that they're getting ahead of this in Michigan, so we'll see what happens.
Keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think regardless, the virtual meetings will be at a minimum permissive through the 31st of March.
Yeah, that's how it is. That's the existing rule right now, is that we are allowed to.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, because meeting in person is obviously so much better, but we have to put up with doing the Zoom for a while. Any other questions for city manager? Okay, let's move on to commissioner privilege. We'll do alphabetically again. Commissioner Bryson?
I have nothing.
Commissioner Henrik?
Yep, two things. I guess I should have asked this one before. Do you anticipate the Metropolis thing on the next agenda?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, and you're anticipating it's going to be a Zoom meeting?
More than likely, yeah.
Okay, I just want to keep them up to date, because there's a lot of elderly and they don't Zoom well, so to speak. And so I'll try to work with them to get them
The fortunate thing is they can actually really just call in. So
I understand that, but I'll have to put up some type of cheat sheet for them just to get them through it, make it a little easier. There's a lot of stuff there, and some of them just aren't savvy with it. So I'll take care of that. My only other thing is, I just want to wish our Mariners good luck this Saturday. They're going to take on Frankenmuth. This is one event I know the whole town's behind them. We always are with the football. It's a shame that we all can't be there, but we will be all there in spirit. And we wish them the best of luck, and we hope they beat Frankenmuth. Thanks.
Commissioner Callahan?
I have nothing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Clausen?
We have nothing from the planning commission. It was canceled, so I have nothing to.
Okay. Commissioner Kreidler?
Nothing
Do you know
tonight.
what, has anybody explained what commissioner privilege is to you?
Not really. Go ahead.
Commissioner privilege is basically at the end of our meetings, each commissioner has an opportunity to, talk about whatever they want to talk about in the community. So that's what commissioner privilege is really all about. Anything that you want to let our community know.
Okay. Well, there was one thing I noticed a lot of Facebook chatter about trying to save our downtown restaurants, some way of using the outdoor seating on the street in igloos, any kind of thing like that. And it seems like it's getting a lot of support from locals. So maybe something we might want to look into in the future, but that's about it.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing right now is that we were just talking about this prior to the meeting. The restaurants unfortunately are taking a big hit, major hit. And right now, Anita's just announced that they were going to be closing until the end of the month. The Riviera is closing until I believe the end of the month. I think they're remodeling. So there's not too many restaurants left. I mean, right now, Gars is closed for a short time. Roasted is closing their doors permanently. So the list is going on and on. So as much as that's a great idea, we have to have a lot of restaurants to support that idea.
Right.
So even though it's not a laughing matter by any means, believe me, but
sure.
I just have a feeling that this is something that is going to go on for a while longer.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, that's
Anyway.
understandable. It's a difficult time, winter and all, but yeah, thanks.
yeah. Thank you. Commissioner Ross?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention something that I've been working on with the Planning Commission, and that, having left the commission, one of the last things that I wanted to leave with them is a guideline for historic structures and keeping our downtown having a historic vibe, through either some amendments to the master plan or potentially putting something into an ordinance. So I wanted to just query the team a little bit about, is that appropriate for me to continue working on it? Should I hand it off to my successor, Ben Heath? What I've been doing is I was actually able to meet with my sister as a city planner in Media, Pennsylvania. And she had a contact with the Historical Preservation Society in Detroit. And they actually can help us with, writing that legislation, if legislation is what's needed, or, assist us with guidelines that could be in the master plan that may have some teeth. So we've met with them once. They gave us a boatload of reading material to look at, and that's about where we stand. But I wanted to sort of query at least Elaine or Cheryl on the, should I continue working on that since it was my, I had the impetus to get it going, or should I hand it off strictly to the Planning Commission? I see Joe Moran of the Planning Commission is also on.
There's no legal reason why you can't continue to pursue something with the Planning Commission. You just wouldn't be doing it in the capacity as the liaison.
Yes, I understand that.
There's no reason for you to discontinue your efforts. It's a very worthy cause, and you should continue to pursue it and just work through Joe Moran and keep your efforts going.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, it's my pleasure. I was fairly devastated by the Seekens house coming down kind of across from the Riviera there. And I know many other members of the community also were. And so we were going to look at, again, attempting to make some sort of guidelines that would prevent or at least discourage that from happening in the future.
Right.
This is Joe Moran.
Hi, Joe.
Just to give credit for Brian where credit is due. He's done a terrific job so far on this, and I, for one, and I'm sure the planning commissioners would be happy to have his input on this continuing in the future. So, Brian, we welcome you with open arms.
Thanks, Joe. That's all I had. Thank you very much, everyone. Oh, go ahead, Bill.
Did I get you a copy of New Baltimore's historical district?
Yep, and I showed that to the liaison that my sister put us in contact with from the Historical Commission in Detroit, and yeah, he said that that's not the best way to do it. He agreed, okay. And we will definitely not be doing something in that way.
Okay.
To educate everybody on what we were talking about, it was sort of form-based regulations. Your windows shall be, of this particular period construction and things like this. It was very overburdening and would not spur, interest in owning a business downtown. And we want to avoid that.
Yeah,
but we want to keep our city's charm. That's the whole intent.
Right. Because if you've ever seen the building codes for Mackinac Island, I mean, they get involved with everything. I mean, even the color of what you're going to do your house in and everything. So
yeah, that's fine, and they can afford to do it, but we cannot.
They can afford to do that, right? Exactly. Okay, thank you. We're going to be moving forward to. For me, I just want to say a couple things. I think Marine City is getting brighter. every time I'm out walking or I'm driving around, I notice that, I always think somebody's got their headlights on when I come around a corner, and it's because we have such great lighting now. Our street lights are being repaired, or not repaired, replaced, with a more brighter bulb, and I noticed it in front of my, my residence. And I just want to let everybody know that, lighting is also a great and the cheapest way for, to secure your home is to, keep your lights on, keep your back lights on, any vulnerable door that you have, so having the street lights, brighter is also a great thing for us too. So I just want everybody to notice that Marine City is getting brighter as we speak. They're not done yet, but they're getting close. Starting on January 18th, I'm going up into St. Clair, and I'm going to be talking with Paul Dingeman from Channel 6, and we're going to start the monthly series called The Mayor Minute. It's going to air shortly after that. It's going to be just a brief monthly talk about just a variety of subjects. The first one I think I mentioned before is going to be on volunteerism, so you guys can all tune into that. And that's about all I had, except for I just want to always end on just a nice note, and this, my little note for tonight is, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. So if I could get a motion to adjourn.
Bill Clausen makes a motion to adjourn.
Second, Brian Ross.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Kreider,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Verkaman,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Good night. Take care. Have a great week.